Hi, we are back and we are doing the Windswept. I love this cut. Oh, do you see my little friend right here? Say hi. He was driving me crazy doing those two haircuts for you, so he needed to come down and say hello. I hope he's not too distracting for you. His name's Henry, by the way. So Henry, don't mess me up, okay? So, back to the Windswept. Just to recap, we've already gone through the edge, our long one length, our freedom, our long layers with progressive. Now we're going into the Windswept, which is our solid horizontal bob. Now to begin, I've divided the hair using the point of reference as her part line. And into the back, we'll be doing the same thing, dividing it into two sections. I've chosen to use my Surface Swivel Thumb 7-inch shear for this bottom. Depending on the hair texture, you'll want to create that nice solid line. So using a swivel shear is the best choice. I will be transitioning to the razor once we've established that nice dominant line, but let me just show you quickly how we're going to create this outer perimeter here. Now a little bit different with this cut. We are going to start from the center and going out. I'm a right-handed cutter, so I will be going out towards the left side. Then I will be rotating my shear and cutting out towards the right. We want that hair to be combed down nicely to where it would live. If they have a hairline that is challenging, you can use the option of holding it with your TK2 comb to give you a little bit more control. She has a pretty good neckline down here, so I'm just going to comb it nicely down without holding any tension with my comb here. So here we go. Hopefully you guys can see me. I'm going to come in from the center here. I'm opening up that shear. Now as I cut towards that red zone, I'm giving it just a slight bevel and visualize just a little bit of length in that red zone. Do you see how when I cut that, it just naturally turned under? That's because, can you see my shear? When I'm opening and closing, pretend this is the head, right? When I'm opening and closing, I'm slightly beveling towards the neck. And as I come to the red zone, which we all know is a challenging area, let's preserve a little bit of that length so when it dries up, you don't have a hole there. Standing behind your section with the Windswept haircut is crucial. So please be aware to not move as you're trying to cut into this red zone. You always want to stand directly behind your section that you're cutting, especially with this cut. Now as I'm going over to the right side, I just rotated. I did it really fast and didn't even show you, but I am rotating. The swivel shear is going to really preserve my wrist and give me the control and the same angle from left to right for this bob. So what I've done is I've just rotated in my hand, and now I'm able to cut towards the right. See that? And that's what I'll be doing here with this nice 7-inch shear. We're just slightly beveling as we're cutting. Now remember, I'm getting into that red zone right here, and it will just give a tiny point as if I was over directing that hair. All right, so I've established this nice dominant line. I'm gonna transition to my razor, and I'll meet you back here to show you the remainder of this perimeter. I've just finished creating that nice solid line down at the bottom here with my swivel shear 7-inch. Now I'm going to switch over to my surface razor, and we're gonna do some fun swing cutting. Now with that swing cutting, I'm gonna start in that center, and I'm swinging to the left, and I'm swinging to the right. As I begin this, you're also going to have a visual of your blade coming from underneath to give it a slight bevel, excuse me. So we're going to comb it down nicely, grabbing our section that's going to be slightly elevated to create just a little bit of softness. I'm going to come in with my razor and I'm going to just shatter as I'm slightly moving my left hand. Do you remember when we were talking about follow the leader? Here's your leader. The working man is right behind. Yes? Same rules apply. And look where I'm standing, directly behind my section, slight bevel as I shatter. And I'm going to stop and look what I just did right there. Did you guys see this is so red right now because this is where you really can leave big holes in the windswept. And then you would have to come through and clean up that entire perimeter again, and you might have a shorter desired length as a result. So again, I'm coming through, slight over direction in that red zone, shattering as I come through. Now, we're treating the head as a whole, just as we do with the entire core system here. But now, depending on the density, the texture of the hair here, you can choose to use your razor or your surface swivel. Here's what would make the difference. If you have somebody with finer hair who needs a little bit more of that solid blunt line, go ahead and switch over to your shear. That's going to create, with this first section around the side, that's going to create your nice, solid, dominant line. Now, if you have someone with medium to coarser hair, go ahead and use your razor, and that's going to create more of a softer line for that windswept. So let me turn her slightly. We are still visualize coming through and doing a swing cut. I can show you both. This side I'm going to show you with the razor. As I come through, I'm swing cutting, and I have my little lead, which is my left hand. Coming through, slight bevel underneath as I'm shattering, preserving that length, and breaking through to create that line. You would do the same, following all the way around. Let me show you one little trick. Now, because we don't have any shoulders, right? We don't have to worry about this, but when you do have shoulders, if you're using your shear to achieve this solid line, we want this windswept, since we are beveling, to bevel on the left side, which is our easy side when you're a right-handed cutter, and we also want it to bevel on the right side. Now, the right side is challenging for right-handed cutters because of that shoulder. So we want to come in from the chin back. Well, one of the main rules of thumb is cut the hair in the direction you want it to go. Well, if we're cutting the hair in this direction, which way do you think it's going to flow? Away from the face and usually flipped up. By coming in from behind for this right side as a right-handed cutter, I'm able to create a bevel and the same consistency with cutting on my left side with my right side. Let me show you how that would work. A lot of people want to stand here directly coming out from the ear. That's not where you want to stand when you're creating this side section. Take just one step back. That way you've relieved all of the space here in your wrist, and then you can come through with that slight bevel again and create that solid perimeter line as you rotate. Now, this piece was done as a part of my swing cutting, so I'm just going to complete that piece really quickly here. Coming down, standing directly in front of my piece. Now I'm razoring and I'm coming through with my swing cut, but now I'm going towards the right side. So I want you to come up and over, still getting to that bevel, and shatter, swing cutting towards the right side. You got it. So what did I do? I came up and over. Remember, we still are playing follow the leader. The leader is that left hand, all the way into our perimeter on our right-handed side. I will continue this technique throughout the entire remainder of my section. Just to recap, we created a nice solid bottom within that nape area with our surface swivel 7-inch shears. Then, as I brought down the remainder layers, we used a swing cutting technique with our surface razor. Now, as I have her nicely combed out, I did have to put a little bit more of the Trinity Protein Tonic on there just to give her nice, even consistency with the hydration. Space creates lift. So what we're gonna do to open up just this, the kind of the cheekbone and eyebrows of my guest here, is I'm gonna come through and just give a little bit of a opening kind of right at this eyebrow. This is a great technique to use if you have somebody who has just a little bit of an unbalanced eyebrows, their eyes, their cheekbones, their nose maybe is a little off-centered from one side to the other, to really create that nice, the illusion of a balanced, symmetrical face, which nobody has out there, but us as the professionals can really help embrace their beauty and really help them shine with a beautiful haircut. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna open up this eye just a little bit more. Now, just as I did with the Freedom, remember in the front, some people get lost. They're doing great back here and then they don't know what to do, what the steps are in the left, the right, and the fringe. Remember, we're gonna start on the soft side. We're gonna migrate to that fringe, and then we're gonna finish on the heavier side with our face framing. So again, we're starting over here on our soft side. I'm gonna come through and right at the cheekbone is where I'm gonna create that nice, soft opening for her. Even tension. I have that tension in that piece of hair. It's from my fingertips to my second knuckles only. If you go anything past that, remember, you're not going to have even tension throughout the entire section that you're holding. So I'm gonna come up and over, so come through, and she's a little bit high for me right now, but I'm just gonna show you just because I'm on the camera with you. And I'm gonna come through using the point of reference as her cheekbone. I'm coming up, fluttering my thumb as my left hand is the leader, and creating some nice shorter pieces. Look how that falls. Shorter pieces around her face. Okay, we've done our soft side. Now you're gonna hear me repeat myself. We're gonna come through and I'm gonna show you a different technique that is called compression cutting, which I really like. It's almost like a stress reliever. I'm gonna give her a little bit of a heavier fringe. We did a light fringe before. I'm gonna do a medium one today to demonstrate for you. Using her part as my point of reference, I'm gonna go 1, 2, target parting, creating that nice triangle, and bringing the hair down. That is going to be my medium fringe for my compression cut. Thank you, Henry. Such a good boy. As I gather that hair, short hair pushes long hair. So now I'm going to comb this hair in the opposite direction as I want it to lay. And I'm going to gather it in my fingers. It's not your turn, Henry. Through consultation, we've determined she wants to rest right above her cheekbone. I'm holding that hair in a compression hold, coming through with my swivel shear. I'm opening up that shear. Now I'm going to bevel slightly, just as I have done in the past, and I'm going to cut as I slightly bevel. Now watch the magic as I move it back over to the side that she wants this to lay. It's more magical for me. Can you see that? Every time, you guys. That is an excellent technique. The compression cut for a fringe is fabulous. Consistent, Lays nicely, love it. Now we are going to migrate to the final side. As we come through, same rules apply. I'm coming through, I'm going to rotate into my palms, and I'm going to just flutter. I'm following my leader as I come down, preserving that length and creating still a nice solid bottom line. If she has a ton of hair on that heavier side, feel free, just as we did in the Freedom, to section out that top area into the green zone and disconnect a little bit more. Here we go, we're gonna come in again. I'm gonna rotate that shear into my palm, and I'm fluttering. My left hand is the leader, and I'm following it out. That way we've created slight collapse if somebody has way too much hair on one side, and it'll rest beautifully whenever she tucks it behind her ears. She's still gonna have some nice balance between her left and her right side. Okay, now we've done the windswept. Let me show you a few little fun techniques for texturizing the hair and creating a little bit more dimension, some movement that I love to do in the salon on a daily basis. So one of these I'm going to show you is a weave technique, and I love to do this on the French because you can really control the way that those lines flow throughout the hair. Let me see if I can balance myself out a little bit more. So I'm going to comb this hair down. I don't want to create too much elevation with it, but I'm going to come through with my razor, creating some nice texture. Now I'm going to rotate that shear slightly up. So I'm not cutting the bottom pieces that I've woven out, I'm cutting the top. And I'm going to take it down. I want it away from her face, so watch. I'm going to rotate it away from her face. Now, when she brushes those to the side, all those short pieces are going to push her hair out of her way, creating a very, very nice, soft fringe that she can wear every day. That same technique for texturizing can be utilized throughout the entire head. What I like to do is grab just kind of that top section of the green zone. We're going to take it and do the same thing. Let me show you. Can we get a little bit closer here for you? We're going to weave up and down, up and down. Now, rotate up and slice down, creating some nice, soft texture throughout this cut. Take this point out. See it right there? That point can be removed. I'm not going to remove it right now since I'm utilizing this for a few more cuts, but that is something that you can come around throughout this entire section on the top and remove that point. What that's going to do is create just a little bit more of a collapse or a softer outer perimeter. Thank you so much for watching my windswept video. I know that Henry really appreciates it too. We will be doing the front and center as our next one. Stay tuned.